So that's the biggest thing. It was really funny when I first started. A lot of my supervisors would tell the boys.
G'day and welcome to another episode of Fit for FIFO.
You're not out here to stuff around.
Louis, is that you?
You really need to stay focused.
Who, me?
If you're a little bit weak-minded, you can be led astray. And there's a few things that guys can get a little bit led astray on.
Oh right, in FIFO. Things like what?
It's
Whoa, hang on a second, Louis. Your episode's already been released, mate. It's Kayla's turn. If our subscribers want to check your episode out, they can find it on our channel, mate. So, as I was saying, on this week's episode, we have the lovely Kayla, who will be sharing with us her experience of working as a young lady in the industry. She'll also tell us about another option for those who want to work in the industry but don't want to live in a FIFO camp. So, let's get into it. Kayla, welcome to Fit for FIFO.
Oh, thanks.
Our first girl on the show. Just tell us a little bit about yourself outside of work and inside of work.
Okay, outside of work, well, now I've just quit the FIFO life, they call it, 2 days in, and I'm feeling a little lost because all of a sudden I have all this time on my hands. Inside work life, yeah, I'm a dual trade electrical and instrumentation tech.
So firstly, actually, tell us, so a lot of people in FIFO actually stay in a camp.
Yeah.
But your situation's a little bit different. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I live in Gladstone, and APLNG, where I was working, is on Curtis Island, which is just off Gladstone. So I get to do the local roster, but I do the 4-on-1, so I have the 4 weeks at work as a FIFO would, and then have a week off. So it is different. I'm not quite the FIFO worker, but I get to come home every night, but that means I have to travel an hour there and back every day, so my 10-hour shift turns into a 12-hour shift including travel, so you kind of lose any kind of time to do anything around that. So yeah, I get to come home every night, so that's the biggest thing. I get to see my family, get to see Shane, still get to have somewhat of a social life. But that's why I went for the 4-on-1 roster, so I could have that 1 week off to kind of, get things done. Yep.
It's quite typical for a lot of these big jobs to have the option of living like in the nearest town or city or living in camp.
Darwin has. Yeah. Darwin is. So they do offer that to people, and working with the guys, they do struggle being away from their families. Everyone starts off, positive, and after about 6 months or so, you start seeing people deteriorate and, really starting to get to them that they're not seeing their family. So it's a really good option, and I'm glad I've been able to do it. So.
Yeah, and you're about to start your first, is it your first fly-in?
First actual fly-in, stay in camp.
Is it good working in the same industry as your partner?
It is, because, we can come home, or now I'm talking to him on the phone and say, how was your day, what did you do, and actually, get to talk about it, get in depth, and understand what he does throughout his day, and he knows what I do with mine. So it makes it easier because it gives a bit more of a conversation. Now that he is working away, it's not just how was your day? Yeah, good. What did you do?
Yeah, you can actually understand. That's cool. So you're instrumentation tech?
Yes.
/ electrician?
Yeah.
How would someone who's straight out of school, what would their best route be to get into your position? Would you suggest?
What I would do first, when I was in school, I did 3 months worth of work experience. This isn't what I wanted to be originally. I wanted to do drafting and architecture.
Oh, yeah.
But when I did work experience in that, I actually hated it. I hated just sitting there inside all day. And my mum actually said, why don't you try this? And TAFE, they offer a lot of courses to do, like the theory side. So I was doing that, and as well as doing work experience, and that's how I found out I love the trade. So if you get onto TAFE, they offer like the external courses after school and do some work experience and find you like it. When I was applying for an apprenticeship, all the industries really loved that I'd done the work experience and did the TAFE course that they offered. So yeah, that's a really good way to start in. I mean, and obviously just applying everywhere. Gladstone's I'm pretty lucky. Got 6 major industries here in Gladstone, so and 3 that offer the dual trade. So
nice. And did you do a dual trade apprenticeship from the start?
Yes, I did. So that's 5 years. Actually, I didn't know you could do instrumentation without doing an apprenticeship. When I first started, I had no idea what instrumentation was, and I had no idea it'd get me to where I am now, really. I knew I wanted to be an electrician, but this instrumentation side of the trade, I found I love it more interesting work. And
a lot of people probably have no idea what instrumentation is. Actually, I've had people, when I tell them instrumentation, they think I'm talking about musical instruments.
I've had that a few times, yes.
So do you want to just tell us a little bit about the difference, or what instrumentation actually
so
is?
How I like to explain instrumentation to people is, say you've got a tank and you want to know, tank full of water, you want to know what temperature the water is, what level the water is in the tank. The devices that do the measuring are instruments. So we work on those instruments and we calibrate them, we make sure they work accurately, and it's our job. And then it all ties into a big system like an LNG plant. So
would you say it's a big benefit doing the dual trade as opposed to just doing an electrical apprenticeship? I suppose a lot of people probably never heard of it before, or maybe they've just heard about it, know nothing about it. If they had the option, would you say go for the dual trade, or just?
Oh, I definitely would. Like, it was a skills shortage when I first started, so there's so many more job opportunities having the dual trade, and because I do have it, it did make it easier for me to get work on the island. And this job I'm going for now is also because of the instrumentation side. So it's definitely worth doing. So
as for being a female and working in the industry, would you say there's any benefits?
I don't know, it's different. It's so different. I try to not let it segregate me when it comes to work, but you do notice it. People do treat you, I guess, with a bit more respect, and it's a hard game out there, like working with that, like a lot of men, and they're all away from home, so they're not really themselves, and sometimes so it can get uncomfortable, but most of the time it's good. You know me, I'm pretty good around guys, and
as you said before, like you're treated with respect. Would you find that like that's the case in most circumstances, that the guys are pretty good with you?
No, the guys are really good. And it's funny, I think guys just appreciate being able to talk about different things with me, because obviously, most guys in this game are really blokey blokes, so when they talk to me, they can kind of have, a conversation they wouldn't have with another guy at work, so, it's quite nice. I really get to know people. It's quite interesting, really.
Would you recommend the industry to other girls? Like, I think it's fun?
I love it. I really love it. I actually wouldn't even know what it's like to work in an office with girls. I don't even know how I'd go in that, but I definitely enjoy it. It's really fun. I think that's what makes doing this easy, is the guys you get to work with. So. Yeah,
cool. What would you say are some of the misconceptions about being a female working in the industry, and what would you say the truth is to those, like in regards to maybe the way you treated or whatever?
Misconception. It's funny. I think it's funny what other people think on the inside. So they see a female, they automatically ask me if I'm a TA or a piggy, and like there's nothing wrong with that. That is fine, but I don't think people realise that women can be in positions that I am, and it's quite good. And I've only worked with 2 other girls that have the dual trade. Guys didn't really make me feel uncomfortable, I suppose. They really try to make me feel part of a crew, so there's not that barrier there. So
Yeah. And would you say that the industry like itself, like the employers and stuff, are they quite like open and accepting like for girls to
Yeah. It was really funny when I first started. A lot of my supervisors would tell the boys, they're like, don't swear around Kayla, and I'm like, I swear half the time anyway. So
Yeah.
I just try and make sure people didn't feel they had to be someone different around me, because you don't,
Yeah. So what message would you give, or what would you say to some girls? Maybe say one of your friends that said she wanted to get into the industry but she was a bit scared.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I'd say definitely give it a go. It can be scary. Like when I first got in the industry, I was 17, straight out of school, and then going on a construction site where there's 3,000 workers. It's a bit daunting, but it's great. It's great work. The money's great as well, and the lifestyle, you get to live because of it, is good as well. So definitely say give it a go. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I enjoyed that. If you have any questions for Kayla or myself, or suggestions about things you'd like to see on Fit for FIFO, please leave it in the comments box below. Don't forget to subscribe, and here's a sneak preview of what's on next week.
All people talk about, I suppose, after a year on being on the job is, because I see it now, I've worked with guys and they do say that to me, and it's hard. Like, obviously I'm all ears.
Yes, what it's all about.